The following story has been brought to you by StoriesToInspire.org.
And I want to start off with a big message from Elia Budny, the Rosh Yeshiva of Mir Yeshiva in Brooklyn. I heard it on Friday from somebody, Yaakov. He told me he asked him a question. It was El. And he answered Budny, he says, what's the biggest zechus I could do before Rosh Hashanah? I want to do something. What can I do? So he told him, learn the laws of Lashon Hara with your wife. That'll be the biggest zechus that you can do. A person starts learning it in the zechus, that itself. And actually today I just met somebody in the shul, his name is Mr. Lak, in one of the shuls I daven. He told me, he says, you don't understand, when a person is involved with his wife, let's say a person learns with his wife, he's starting to learn how to down the kav zechus, to start becoming a better person within his own family. And not only that, within all Klal Yisrael, you become a different person. People ask me, why is this more important than any other learning there is? You have to learn Hilchos Shabbos, you have to learn Hilchos Tefillah to Tefillah. Everybody has to, you're right, they all are very important. But here, you're 24/7, your mouth is moving, and constantly you're faced with talking here, talking there. When you start learning it every day, 3 minutes a day, the book called Daily Companion, the Blue Book, you get an awareness. And you get an awareness, you get bracha. Actually, right now, while I'm talking, there's a word right now, it's a family, it's an unbelievable story. My wife started a group of learning Chafetz Chaim on the phone. 2 people tonight in the group are engaged tonight. After a few months, I'm not sure how long my wife is doing it. 2 from the group, but one of the families, one of the ones, the chassan, is a family that did it for 4 months. The day before they finished 4 months, Baruch Hashem, the daughter got engaged. Now, the son, about 2 months later now, the son is engaged to one of these girls. And it's an amazing thing. The husband told me, he's a very choshev, a big maggid shir, and he told me, he says, the awareness is amazing. And actually, the wife explained it to me from the husband, that awareness is unreal. You become aware of what's going on. Somebody told me he saw, it was some kind of car accident about a week and a half ago, and he said he saw the whole accident, and he was about to tell, there was police there, he was about to describe what happened, and then he realized, wait a second, if I say every single detail the way I saw it, it's going to cause Lashon Hara big problems. He realized, according to the laws of Lashon Hara, you can't say every single point. It might cause very bad damages where that's not where the law is. And he said, if I wasn't learning it every day, I would have just said whatever I want. I would have caused a lot of arguments and machlekes. I want to share with you something on Thursday, something amazing. Rosh Hashanah is coming, mamish, in 6 days. Shabbos is Rosh Hashanah this year. And Baruch Hashem, we're getting ready. People are wondering, what can we do? And as I told you, the biggest problem, one of the big things is the mouth. And I want to share with you a letter. It's a little bit of a scary letter. It's called Regards from the Upper World. It was a letter from the Mishmeres HaShalom in Eretz Yisrael, just like the Chafetz Chaim Heritage Foundation has in America. In Eretz Yisrael, there's an organization called Mishmeres HaShalom. And in there, I even have the letter in front of me, it said it was a boy that was killed in a car crash. And this boy was killed in a car. It was a very sad thing. The mother was crying on Shabbos. And she had a dream. In the dream, I can read it to you a little. In the dream, my dear son came to me, his face glowing. Good Shabbos, Ima. Why are you crying? Why are you crying? And the conversation went on. He says, and he writes, I'm among tzaddikim, and I don't miss the oil masheka left behind the least. My English tranquil voice was like a balm for my soul heart. And then the letter continues, Ima, my dear son, in the Olam HaEmes there are answers for all the questions, but I'm not permitted to reveal them to you. I can only say one thing. Here in the Bezin Shamalda, you see clearly that the primary cause of tragedies is Lashon Hara and Rechilas. Believe me, Ima, my son went on saying, I did difficulty accepting his words. If people would have guarded their tongues, I wouldn't have passed away. Now I'm being spared punishment in Gehenna because I used to learn Shmiras HaLashon and was careful in my speech. Notice he did 2 things. He didn't say Lashon, he was careful Lashon Hara, and he learned it. You have no idea what protection there is here in Shemayim. There's a chus of Shmiras HaLashon. Now they ask me to console you, Ima, and also to ask you to publicize this message. Encourage more and more people and to watch their tongue. Do it for me, Ima. It'll be in aliyah for my neshama. The family repeated the story to Maran HaGaon of Steinman, and he said it's a mitzvah to publicize the story to inspire Klal Yisrael to strengthen their Shmiras HaLashon. Now this is, I don't usually say the letter so quick because it's a tough letter. But now we're mamish, and by Rosh Hashanah, Yom Kippur is around the corner. He says everybody was looking for things to change. The number one change there is the mouth. Because that, you look throughout all the chatan, all the sins, the biggest chalik is the mouth. When a person starts learning 2 laws of Lashon Hara, you will have a change of life. And anybody in this who is listening to this right now, if you're learning it, you understand what I mean. Everybody understands. I spoke to somebody today, he's doing it for many years. I know exactly what you mean. The awareness is amazing. I met 3 or 4 people this week, a week and a half, that are doing it about 20 years or more, and I asked them, how are your children? He says, each one was different topics, a different way of saying it, amazing, great. One of them said he has one son, he said the mile is such a high point, and they all have the same common denominator. Any parents that are learning it for many, many years, I'm telling you right now, you will have nachas. Wherever this recording is going all over the world, everywhere you are, in every part and every country in the world, in every place in the world, you all see what I'm saying, that when the parents learn it, there is tremendous bracha in the family. And I even started telling people to do it together, because when you do it together, it even causes more bracha. Many, many stories of mine, when they learn together, you cause tremendous. One of the stories from the other recording I said was somebody, a common tribe, I don't know if I said his name, my next door neighbor gave me permission to say his name. He had a person had 4 major problems in life, major, which I mentioned it before in a different recording. He said he got in 45 days, all 4 Yeshuas in 45 days. I said, why? Because they're learning it together. There's bracha. When there's bracha, you cause tremendous greatness in your family, and it continues and spreads out. I want to tell you what happened on the last Thursday. Today is Sunday. This is what happened. This is a day of a beautiful day that I received in that one day. 4 stories in one single day. In the morning, I was in one of the shuls in Lakewood. I spoke a little bit over there in the after Shachris, a few minutes about learning stories, about a story about Chavetz Chaim. Somebody came over to me. He said, Rabbi Menache, whatever, I don't know if he said my name. He said, about a year ago, I saw you. You were talking to a few people. And I said, you know what? I got inspired. I told my wife, let's learn every supper, which is a beautiful idea. If anybody could do that idea, it's diamonds. Diamonds, you'll get in the next world for sure, you'll get 10 times more. He says, he decided whoever is by supper, me, my wife, and any kids that are there by supper, we're learning it. He said, I did it over the year. He said, my son, I think it was 2 daughters, 3 children got married this past year. That's what he tells me. I was like, whoa. That was one story. I was like, already got a chizuk here, beautiful story. I continue going into my school. I teach 1st grade. And I went to my school. It's called Yad Dil Torah. It's in Lakewood. I was coming into the school, and one of the ladies, Kriya people, said, Rabbi, I have a story for you. I said, what? He said, I know somebody who's trying to buy a house. And they started learning this blue book. I'll show it again. It's called Daily Companion from the Chavetz Chaim. Their family started learning it. On the 40th day, they signed a contract to buy a house. They were trying to find a house, and on the 40th day, they found Baruch Hashem. They were matzliach 40 days. I was like, wow. 2 nice stories, but the stories get better. I came into my school now in the afternoon. And the afternoon, I was in one of the schools I teach is in the Lakewood Cheder. So I was coming in. One of the people there that was somebody had a lot of tzara. Lady working there. She was in crutches. She wasn't married. She's not married. And amazing thing, she was in crutches for about a year. And I saw her. She was walking. And she told me an amazing, amazing story. And I actually had pushed her to learn the laws of Chavetz Chaim. And she told me that the doctor told her about a little over a year ago, Lag Ba'omer, the doctor says, I'm sorry to tell you, you will never, ever walk again. What happened? She had a nerve in her foot that was dead. And it's because of that, her whole foot was not able to move. There was some part of the foot, and she was on crutches. And the doctor said, I'm sorry to tell you the bad news. And when the family heard it, the entire family decided, they were already learning Chavetz Chaim, but they decided to learn it for the zuchus of her. And the whole family, I think parents, the grandparents, they started learning it, Lag Ba'omer, a little over a year ago. July 11th, she woke up in the morning, she told me, and all of a sudden she got some sensation in the foot. What? And she couldn't believe she was actually able to move it. She called the doctor in Baltimore. And she says, doctor, I don't believe it, my foot is moving. So the doctor says, I don't believe you. It's impossible. Come to my office. Anyway, they brought her to Baltimore. The doctor saw this. He was shocked. He said the word. He said, it's a miracle. It's the act of God. That was the expression he used. In other words, he understood that only Hashem could do such a miracle, and that's what Hashem does when a person starts learning. And the fourth story was also an amazing story. It's really a continuation from a story I said before. Somebody 33 years old. I said in a different recording about there was a 33-year-old that somebody who I know, a man called David Naim, who knows me, his brother's my principal. He told this man in Far Rockaway, learn this book, Chafetz Chaim, do Blue Book. And they started learning the second day the shidduch started on his phone. It was from Eretz Yisrael. Kitzer, I said over before, around 90 days got engaged. That was the story I mentioned in a different recording. He called me that day, Thursday, and also spoke to me Wednesday. He said to me something amazing. He said to me, there's more details. He said, now that I'm engaged, my Kala even said he sends the recording to his Kala. Kala says, we're going to try to change the world after the Chasna. But he added something. He says, people told him, why don't you make a group? He started making a group. It's an amazing thing. He started a group himself. He said in 12 days he has 80 people learning it. 80 people changing their lives. He told me not everybody's even from. He has even people not even so from, and they're starting to learn it, and they're becoming better. Could you imagine? Tell the Chafetz Chaim in Shemaim, Chafetz Chaim, your Sefer Chafetz Chaim that you wrote over 100 years ago. Baruch Hashem, you wrote it, and you're in there. It's changing the world, and it's causing Mashiach to come. That's the people are starting to change their mouth, and we said it. That's going to be the zechus to bring Mashiach, because the second base of Mikdash was destroyed because of sinas chinam and Lashon Hara. So that was how we're going to fix it. The more people that learn it, it's an incredible thing when a person goes out and he starts learning it. Tremendous things happen. This was all in one day, 4 stories. And I have many, many stories, but I want to continue with somebody who's a Rav in Lakewood. I didn't ask him permission to say his name, but it's an amazing thing. I want to say it over. I heard from somebody else that told me this Rav started a group to learning laws of Lashon Hara. And many people got engaged from this group. Somebody 32, 25, 28, different ages. And I saw him about a year, maybe a little over, maybe about a year ago. I told him, Rabbi, whatever, I called him, I said, I heard so many people engaged. He tells me, that's nothing. In my group, I had somebody did not have children. After he started learning it, he was expecting a child. Somebody else had a major money problem. And it was fixed up, and there was something else. The machal, there were 3 major zechusim of somebody in the group, Baruch Hashem, Parnasa. The machal was fixed, and also somebody didn't have children. 3. Somebody had the machal recovered, somebody didn't have children, and somebody had Parnasa. Baruch Hashem was zeichin. And I tell this a lot of people: when a person starts learning it, you change, and tremendous greatness, bracha happens. Now there is also another thing that a lot of times when you start learning it, you get faced with situations. You're shocked. Somebody who told me this, they have a group actually, and it's a boy, somebody where I teach in the Cheder. His grandmother was at a chassan about a little over a year ago, I think it was. And while she was sitting at the table, the ladies there were talking about the kala, and they actually said Lashon Hara on the kala. And this lady's listening. She goes, ladies, it's Lashon Hara. And they stopped. Baruch Hashem, they all listened. She came home, she told it to her grandson who told it to me. She said, if I wasn't learning it every day, I wouldn't have said anything. When a person is not learning it, you're not aware. And you say, I am 100% careful. It's not true. When a person starts learning it, you become aware and you'll save yourself. I'm guaranteeing you. I said this before. This is Al Meltzer, Rabbi Aaron's father said, if you don't learn the Sefer HaKadosh there all the time, you won't make it. You will be over. And it takes 3 minutes. I timed on my watch. I already said this over about maybe 3 minutes to learn it, and your life changes. And I'll tell you a nice story. This is a little while ago. I think maybe even a few years ago. It was a few years ago, but it's a good story. Somebody, when my kids got engaged, there was a friend of mine. He was very inspired when he saw so many things happening. My 3 kids got engaged within 3-4 months. He decided, you know what? I'm going to learn it with my whole family for a few things, which is amazing. People don't realize you could do it for a lot of things. Don't think if somebody has 7, 8 things, don't worry, do it for that. And he said he got his whole family, his wife and his kids. Let's learn it for a bunch of things. And he told me one of them had a total 4 shlema. Somebody had a half shlema, and he had even a brother who was actually going out. He was over 50, and his brother was going out. But he decided, had that in mind. And Baruch Hashem, he also got engaged. About 8 months later, he can't believe, I hear the message, his daughter got engaged. After all what he did for others, Hashem says, now I'm going to give it to you. I came to the chasna, I still remember, he jumped up, Rabbi Menache, I don't believe it. It was boiled tremendous, because he got a very good boy. He got a very good chassan for his kala. And then while I'm in the chasna, somebody tells me, the chassan also has a story. I went over to the chassan's family, and I couldn't believe it. The chassan himself started learning, him and his father. He actually wanted a special type of girl, Yerushalayim, certain type, and he said, I want to learn it. So he started learning with his father. And he ended up having him get engaged, and his sister also got engaged. It was like a mamish, a family working together as a unit. And I have to let everybody know, it also goes, this I don't know for sure, it's a guarantee, not so much, but you can poil it for other people. I had somebody who was working with me in the cheder, he had about a 40-year-old sister. And I remember kept telling him, go, you got to learn it. I pushed him. I spoke to his wife in the summer. I spoke to his wife when the Yeshua happened. She said she started learning it, she and her husband, in the summer, last summer. And about 7-8 months later, his sister got engaged and Baruch Hashem got married, about 40 years old. And the same type of story I also got with somebody who's, I spoke in a place, and a person told me, he says, I have a 35-year-old sister. My whole family started doing it. About 4 months later, my sister got engaged. And I want to just really give a message now. Rosh Hashanah is coming. It's really Yom Adin. There's a lot of people, the slichas, people are trying to get zechusim, they're trying to give tzedakah, which is such a beautiful thing, it merits, and you're trying to do add mitzvahs, and every single angle of life. But remember one thing. Today is the Yortzai V'Chavetz Chaim. I'm going to tell you a mashal, and this mashal is very important to remember. If you just, everything I said today, if you just feel this mashal, it's kedai, everything I said. He gave a mashal of what happens when chas v'sholom people say Lashon Hara. He gives a mashal. Somebody was selling svarim. It could be it's a true story, but he gave the mashal. He says, in one of the svarim, he brings his mashal. Somebody was selling a shas, a beautiful shas. In the time of Chavetz Chaim, that was like, whoa, you have to be rich to buy a shas. People had only one Gemara, 5 Gemaras, and he was selling the shas, let's say $1,000, whatever it was. And people were looking at it, beautiful print, beautiful everything, and there was one man, rich man. I want to buy it. Yes, give me the money. He said, let me see it. He looks outside, beautiful print outside. He didn't open it, he just looked at it. And he takes the shas, gives him the $1,000, takes the boxes, gets it, whoever's helping him carry it, brings it home. He is so excited. I bought a shas, so beautiful. And then he gets home. He opens the first Gemara, and he said, what? He sees the Gemara is blotched up with oil, and pages and pages. What? Every Gemara he opens, well, so he runs out to get to that guy, the crook, the one who sold him a shas, all messed up. And the guy's not there. He was a ganef. He was selling a shas. He couldn't even find maybe a couple pages. And he says, what? I lost $1,000? So Chafetz Chaim said, this mashal is emes. This is a mashal when people say Lashon Hara about others. What really happens? In Shemaim, they're looking at you as a chusim. The Chavis Levavas brings us down, Shar Kanir. You can look it up yourself. People are going to come up after 120, and they're going to say, what's going on? What happened to my mitzvahs? Oh, you were saying many words, Lashon Hara, and you're knocking this person, making fun of him. We took a lot of your mitzvahs, and we gave it over to him. And some of the other guys' affairs come to you according to how bad it is. And in the end result, a person living a life of Lashon Hara, he mamish could have nothing. It's very scary. You could lose your zechusim. Now Rosh Hashanah, we don't want to lose that. We want to come to Rosh Hashanah with zechusim, with mitzvahs. We don't want to lose mitzvahs and get other people's affairs. And a person starts saying Lashon Hara, it causes a big problem. I have a cousin, one of my cousins, I could say family, it's Abikasa's family, my cousin. And the family, the wife sells jewelry. She has about 4 or 5 stories. One of them, she told the husband and wife to do it, and the daughter, and about 40 days later, it was mamish 40 days, got engaged. And she told me, and the family, so they were telling me also about it, about this idea of that in the Shemona Esrei, the Chafetz Chaim brings this down, it says, Nesor Lashoni Merah. The first words after you finish, you say, Hashem, protect me from Lashon Hara. And he says, why? What's happening? So the Chafetz Chaim brings more in depth. I'm not going to go into it, but really, because what happens is you're going to mess up. Even you have a shame. You're going to mess up even later. It says, Beis Hamikdash you have to build. This is the most important part in the Shemona Esrei is your Baruch Hashem is to be careful with Lashon Hara. The first thing you say, and later on it says the name. A person says the name in the Shemona Esrei, your name. It says the pasuk you say. So we don't want to mess up because your name is going to get messed up because your life, your mitzvahs and averos are all going to be twisted around. You look in the Chafetz Chaim itself, you'll see it. I don't want to go in length in it, but I just want to bring out the point. We're now coming to Rosh Hashanah. It's a very, very hailik time. I'm 6 days. Everybody's worried. Everybody's saying slichas. If you start learning, or even if you are learning it, be extra careful. Now is the time. Be careful, Lashon Hara, and say to HaKadosh Baruch Hashem, look, I am careful, Lashon Hara, please. I am careful, Lashon Hara, please. You also help Klal Yisrael. And that was, I don't remember if I ever said this story, but it's a perfect time for the story. That somebody was driving a car in Lakewood. His daughter was very sick in the hospital in Philadelphia. And it's just fitting here, even if I said it, but he was driving, and his daughter was a few months in the coma in Philadelphia, and he said he had an nisayon to say Lashon Hara, and he stopped, and he didn't say it, and then he turns to Hashem, the Eibush, and he says, Hashem, I closed my mouth, please open the mouth of my daughter. 10 minutes later, his daughter, his mother, his wife called him up, said, you can't believe it, she woke up, she's woken up from the coma, and eventually she was 100% better. I actually said this story in Lakewood 2 months later, and while I was talking at the end of the speech, the girl jumps up, it's me, I'm the one, and I was like, what? Yes, she told me, I was the one that called, my father saved my life. Chaim umavis, somebody told me this line, Chaim umavis biyad Lashon. Life and death is in the hand of the mouth. Here we have an opportunity. This is the greatest zechus, like we said from the beginning of Elia Brudny. The biggest zechus, and there's a letter from Shneur Cutler and Nassim Wachvogel about 40, 50 years ago. It was 50 signatures of a person that should all makabel themselves to learn to halachas Chafetz Chaim. The Gedolim understood how great it is. And they understood. I have another letter from another Gadol in the time of the Chafetz Chaim said also how special, how important it is to learn the words of the laws of Lashon Hara. And I'm just going to end off that Be'ez Hashem give a bracha to everybody who's listening to this. Right now, take the book right now. Don't wait, I'll wait till tomorrow. If you don't believe me, try. You don't understand what it is. When how many people come to me and says, it's the difference between learning it and not, is the difference more than the difference between Shemayim and Aretz, billions of miles away. That's the difference between somebody that learns it every day and somebody that doesn't. And only a person that learns it understands what I'm saying. But people that don't learn it, and Be'ez Hashem, I give a bracha, that Be'ez Hashem, we should all have Mamish the Gula, Eibishter, please remember your children. They're waiting for you. You could build the third base of Mikdash even this week. Hashem, you could do it even before Rosh Hashanah. There's no, when Hashem created the world in 6 days, He can make in 6 days. Today is Yom Rishon, Sunday. He can make in 6 days. Mashiach comes, and by Rosh Hashanah, the shofar will blow before. And just like Shabbos, we don't have a shofar, so Hashem will blow the shofar before Shabbos and make the shofar the Kadosh Baruch Hu shofar blow. Why not? Kadosh Baruch Hu do whatever He wants. He runs the world, and if we show Him, everybody here that listens and hears this, we show Him that we want Him. We want the Gula to come, and we care about His name. We care about His pain, because HaKadosh Baruch Hu has a lot of pain. He's not taking back His children. And Be'ez Hashem, everybody who hears this, spread it out, tell the world about it, and you're going to see, I'm telling you, if enough people learn it, we're going to have the Gula. And we're going to have it even before Rosh Hashanah, if there's enough people, and Be'ez Hashem, HaKadosh Baruch Hu will send Mashiach, and will finally come and see a beautiful Beis HaMikdash, the shofar blowing, we'll all be together dancing and singing with HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and saying, Hashem, look, million people are learning Chafetz Chaim. The Chafetz Chaim himself, he's the one that caused it, and we are now, the next generation, Be'ez Hashem, we'll be Zoicha to build the Bayis Shlishi and have Mashiach come. I just want to end off and say, don't forget to hit the follow button and share with others. And also, if you want to join a group of people learning the laws of Lashon all over the world, you can go into daily, SHDAILY.org, and while supplies last, you can sign up to get a book delivered. But just the final message is, Be'ez Hashem, everybody should have a ksiva chasima toiva. And Be'ez Hashem, tell the world, I'm telling anybody who gets inspired, that's the biggest advice I give you, tell your friends, neighbors, relatives, maybe your cousins, everybody. The more people we have it, Be'ez Hashem, and ksiva chasima toiva, and all good, Be'ez Hashem.
You've just experienced another Torah class brought to you by TorahAnytime.com.
Enjoyed this story? Come again. Bring a friend. StoriesToInspire.org